So it's our first pre-recorded Shaymen podcast on Talking Shaymen. Sadly, Shaymen Stats can't join us again tonight, but I've also got Rob Brown, who's usually becoming a bit of a regular now. Now, we've got plenty to talk about because obviously lots happened in the last 2 weeks. We haven't done one of these for a while. But firstly, I think we should get on with what about yesterday when it was the memorial match for James Dean. Did you go, Rob?
Yeah, I went. I thought it was a great day. There was a good turnout from Chorley fans. Not as many Halifax Town fans there as I hoped there would be. But it was good to see some of those old players, and some are, less fit than they used to be, but everybody put 100% effort in. And 4-0 was probably a reflection on the how young some of the Chorley players were. But it was a very well organised day, and it was great.
You could sort of tell with the differences between the ages with Chorley and Halifax, because you saw some Chorley players and they were running at defenders pretty well, taking players on and didn't stop running really, where some of the Halifax players, they're in their mid-40s now, so they're not going to be able to keep up with some of them Chorley players. But I was impressed with Baker. I thought he did pretty well, and I thought Daniel Lowe was pretty good as well. Was there anyone who impressed you for Halifax?
Yeah, I thought Jonathan Hedge was great. He still plays. He still plays for Sheffield FC. So he's still playing at Evo stick level. He's had a good career. I think he probably prevented it being from 10-0, to be honest. But there was some good performances there, and we should have brought Lee Gregory on. That'd have been good, wouldn't it?
It would have been good to see him. When I saw him on the lineup, so I was a bit like, yes, get him. Might get to see him, and obviously it was a day for James Dean. So I think raised a lot of money for their family, I've heard. So that's one positive to the day.
Absolutely.
As much as it can be. So we move on to some stuff with the club now a little more. Obviously we've got some supporters club now. I've heard that obviously on Twitter we've just come out with a new supporters club profile, which is to sell merchandise. Can you express a bit more about what that's about?
Yeah, so we've got a new Twitter page called Halifax_club. And that's Phil, who's looking after ordering polo shirts and other merchandise for Supporters Club. So what people can do now is follow that account and contact him direct. At the moment, people might come to the main account and have to contact Phil and sort things out. But now if you go direct to Phil, he's eagerly waiting for people to sort out your polo shirts. Very quick turnaround. Choose any colour you like, choose any size you like, and they're very high quality. So he's up for that.
They're only £20 as well, which is pretty cheap for something of such high quality.
That's right, and you can order multiple shirts for the same postage price as well. And there's also likely to be other Supporters Club merchandise coming out in the near future as well. So it's quite exciting times. But if we can keep Phil really busy by giving him loads of orders, that would be great.
Also, I'd like to thank Phil for the Danny Forrest interview. Obviously, that was meant to be tonight, but we thought we'd do a Talking Shaymen podcast instead because he couldn't make it. That is rescheduled to Wednesday, I'm glad to say, and it will be out on 7 p.m. That will be live, unlike this one. But anyway, I've heard that we've also got some Skircup 50/50 Club. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so the Skircup 50/50 Club is an opportunity for people to engage with the club all year round. It's a club where 50% of the income goes towards the football club and 50% goes to a prize fund. There are 5 prizes each month. We're going to do a live draw each month as well. And effectively, half the money is split amongst the people that participate. If anybody wants to join that, it's not too late. They can email Halifax Town SC Treasurer at gmail.com, and Simon would be delighted to help. But again, if anybody has any problems, just drop us an email on Twitter or Facebook and we'll sort you out.
Now, I've heard the prize pool's gone up to £285. Now, that's quite a lot, and I'm sure if people are wanting to make that go higher, you should really urge to enter now. Yeah,
it's it'll continue to grow forever. So the more people engage, the bigger the prize fund will be. It's a great opportunity because it runs every month of the year. It's not just a one-off draw. And hopefully we can make some Shaymen rich at some point, which would be great. And with 5 prizes, effectively everybody's got a chance.
some great prizes there as well, isn't there?
Oh yes, it's exciting. We like a draw.
Mm-hmm. I definitely do. So anyway, with that in mind, so we move on to a bit of pre-season now, a bit more about the club. Now, we obviously haven't played too many games, and the Fylde game was called off, which doesn't help. Pete Wild did actually say he wants to organise another 2 friendlies. What's your opinion on pre-season so far?
It's good. I think the manager said right at the start that he wanted to use it to give trialists an opportunity. Yeah. He said he wasn't worried about the result. He said he was only worried about getting people a bit of fitness and giving people the opportunity to show how good they were. He's been true to his word. Lots of trialists, first half, second half, in each of the games. It's been okay. I think one of the challenges is spotting who's who. But, trialists are there to impress, and the manager's got to decide. So it was nice to go to Guiseley last week. It was, not been there for a few years. And Fars is also good. So, yeah, it's just good to see some live games, wasn't it? Did you go?
I went to Farsley, but I couldn't make Guiseley due to COVID. And then we were going to go to Fylde, but obviously that didn't happen. But I heard number 9 against Guiseley were really good, you were saying earlier. What, did you see anything of him?
To be honest, I don't know too much about the players. I didn't see much of the games last year. And when I sit with my mates, I keep asking them who's who. Because I can't spot a trialist or spot one of our players, because they don't have names on the backs. It's sometimes it's difficult to work out who they are. I mean, everybody chopping and changing. It's just good to see a few goals, backwards and forwards in it, and people going for it. And it's not too serious, is it? Pre-season, it's just a chance for us to blow off cobwebs as well, in it, and get into game practice as well.
You can't really expect much from friendlies, especially when you're making 11 changes at half time. But if we move on to a few of the signings now. I think we've made, is it 4, is it 5 signings so far? I think a lot of fans are being a bit negative with saying that we aren't bringing in the right players. They haven't done anything in their career. Obviously, first we brought in Harvey Gilmore. What's your opinion on him? Obviously, we don't know much about him, but what do you think of him?
He working hard the other night, which is good. And I think, as I said to you before, people might not be famous when they join our club, but as long as they're famous when they leave, that's great. And there's an opportunity for us to develop these players and to promote their careers as well. And I think, there's always an opportunity for people to increase the size of the playing budget by buying more of our 50-50 club tickets. So, it's one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, Gilmore looks good. Happy with him.
Obviously, been at Stockport and didn't really get the game time there. I think it just depends on the club. Devante Rodney came into the club with not many expectations. He came, and well, we all know where he is now. He's at Port Vale, being their best player. So Harvey Gilmore could come at the end. He could be the next Jamie Vardy for all we know. So I'm not too disappointed with that signing. Now, a signing that I was really happy with, and I think, in my opinion, the best signing so far when I looked at the statistics and how good he was in the playoffs to Torquay. Billy Waters. Firstly, what's your opinion on him?
Yeah, it's a great signing. He got to, with his club, he got to the final, didn't he, of the promotion for last season. And if it wasn't for a referee who made a couple of, unusual decisions, shall we say, his club would have been in the Football League now, wouldn't they? So, yeah, you don't get to play for a club like that who does really well without being a good player yourself. So looking forward to seeing him next year.
Yeah, he's quite a small player when I saw him, and he did like to take a few players on. I was speaking to a Torquay fan on the Supporters Club, and he did actually say he always put 110% in, never shied from getting stuck into tackles, even though he was quite as a forward. But he wasn't the best finisher around. Now, obviously, that's not the best. He did score 6 goals in 11 starts and 28 appearances. He got 1 yellow card last season. Obviously, we haven't really got a main striker yet. We've got Jordan Slew, who we'll go on to in a little bit. And losing Jake Hyde isn't great. But then bringing in someone like Billy Waters, who scored 6 goals, but not really being able to, score that many goals and being able to keep that momentum up. And I think missing a few chances isn't great. He did actually miss one against Farsley that I saw where he got through. It was a lovely one by him, but he couldn't finish. And I think that's one thing that I'm a bit worried about this season. We haven't got anyone who's prolific like Jake Hyde was. What's your opinion on that?
I think anybody that can score 6 goals in 11 games is okay for me, because if he plays 46 games in a season, he's going to get 20 plus, isn't he? I mean, I know he's not a striker as such, but it's not a bad average, that really.
Now, someone else who we signed, I did really like the video the club made out. They've been brilliant with them this season. We saw Warburton, Matty Warburton. He came from, I think, was it Accrington Stanley? I think it was. And he was a fan's fit. No, Northampton, so it was. He came from Northampton. Now, one statistic here, him and Billy Waters both played for Northampton, which is sort of a good sign going into next season because they'll know each other, both being quite forward players. I was speaking to a Stockport fan now, and when he played for me, he was a top player. But he was saying as long as you play him in the right way and keep him fit, the Curry also said this as well, he can be a prolific striker and he'll get you to the playoffs. Now, that's a big statement by a Stockport fan who obviously will have high expectations when players come in. Now, what's your opinion on Matty Warburton signing?
I think it's encouraging. Again, Stockport did really well last year.
Yeah.
It shows if he's playing for that team, they must be a decent player. And I think it's quite encouraging. We're signing people of that quality. Quite clearly, he's going to give us all the best next year, and I think he'll improve us. It's quite exciting. Looking forward to seeing him again.
Yeah, he played for Yeovil last season. I think he played 10 games, but he only scored 1 goal. Obviously, he might have played in the wrong position. Now, one thing I'm worried about this season is how Pete Wild plays him. Now, I wouldn't have brought him in if he didn't think he had any quality or anything, but I'm just a bit worried how he plays him next season. If you don't play him in the right way, it could be one of them signings that just goes to the back of the pile and don't get in. And that's one thing I'm a bit nervous about. But if this signing does pull off, we could be in with one hell of a player.
Yeah, I think you've got to trust the manager. He'll bring people in that think they'll do the right job. And, he'll sign somebody there I think is going to really excite us and give us a bit going forward. And, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. We also signed Jordan Slew from Morecambe. Now, I think he only scored like 13 goals in 18 goals, I think it was, in 11 years. Now, I wouldn't say that's exactly a signing that I think all the fans are going to be too impressed with. But if teams like Morecambe are signing him from other clubs, then I think he must be a decent player. But I'm just a little nervous about this signing because I'm just not too impressed when you see players like Jay Kai leaving the club and Jack Ayring. And then you've brought someone like Jordan Slewin, who scored 13 goals in, I think, 11 years, something like that. It's not too great, if I'm totally honest. But what's your opinion on it?
I'm really excited by him. I saw him the other night, and he looks a big guy. And already today I've sponsored him for next season. Sponsored the away shirt. I'm expecting to see loads of away goals. And as I said, if you doesn't matter what you like when you come, but when you go, if you're famous, fantastic. Yeah. And he's obviously got a point to prove, and he looks fit, he looks up for it. He's a big lad, and really exciting.
Mm-hmm. I think is that it on signings now. I'm sure there was one more player. We signed someone the other night. Jordan Slew we signed. I'll have a look now, but yeah, I'm a bit optimistic with the signings. I think it can either pull off. Obviously, the players we're bringing in don't have like the same background to the players we brought in last season, but it just look like we're going for something a little different this season. Where last season we were bringing in the big names like Jay Hyde, Neil Byrne, but it was a totally different situation last season. And we've still got players from last season like Kieran Green, Luke Summerfield, Neil Mayer's obviously stayed on. What's your opinion on them staying on this season?
Yeah, it's good. Again, the manager's seen a lot more than I have, and he's got an understanding of what they can do. And just going back to Jake Hyde, if we'd have signed somebody from Woking last week, he'd have gone, who's he? And last year we signed Jake Hyde from Woking, didn't we? And, he's gone on to be a better player, I think, having to play for us. So, yeah, we don't have rubbish players in our club. I think the manager's got them all lined up, and, he knows what he needs and what he's got. And if he's giving them a new deal, that's because they've got something about them. And, it's going to be exciting, isn't it?
I think most fans are just a bit worried. We're going back to the Fullerton days where, we were bottom half team, mid-table team. And obviously the signings we're bringing in, they're not the same calibre. But one thing that I am trusting in Pete Wild. The 2 seasons he's been at the club, we've been pushing at the right end of the table.
Absolutely.
And the first season, he didn't actually bring in too many, brought in similar players to these sort of guys. Players that we haven't really heard of and players that haven't really done anything. So I'm not too upset with the signing so far. I'm just a little optimistic to know what's going to happen. I'm expecting playoffs this season, a push for it. But we can't be spending the same money that Wrexham are signing. It's ridiculous that they're signing players like Paul Mullin. They've just signed that Carlisle centre-back who were their captain, who's been there for God knows how long. And then you've also got sides like Notts County signing Carl Cameron from Torquay. I think we've done pretty well to sign players we have done so far, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah, it's good. There's only 2 promotion spots this year, isn't there? And one of them's for the playoffs. So there'll be lots of clubs not getting promoted this year. And I think what the right thing to do is to set your budgets accordingly, sign players that want to play for the club. Yeah. And if they develop with us and move on to better things, wonderful.
Well, the thing is, last season it was a totally different situation as well compared to this season. Like, we had COVID a bit more stronger last season, so players were just looking for a club, just more like, I need to find a club, so they'd come to Halifax. Where this season you've got players like Jake Hyde who aren't even under contract, being able to go to the sides of Wrexham. What's your thoughts on him joining Wrexham?
Again, Wrexham can only play 11 players, can't they? So they can sign as many people as they like, but they've only got 11 people they can play. And Wrexham don't do particularly well when they play us. So, it'd be nice, wouldn't it, to get them down the Shay and turn them over, or even turn them over at their place.
When you do say that they don't usually play well against us, they did play well against us with that 4-0 defeat. I don't really want to talk too much about that. I was talking to ShaymenTalks about that. But anyway, so we move on because I don't really want to go on about that game. I think what I'm a bit, I'm a bit worried about, it's the players that we're bringing in, and they haven't really done anything in their career. But like you said in I think an early Talking Shaymen podcast, they do when they come in. It doesn't matter where they come from. When they leave the club, they could be Premier League players for all we know when they leave the club.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look at Jack Earing. He's gone on to Football League now, hasn't
he? He'll do well in his career. I'm signing for Walsall, which is pretty good.
And had you heard of him before we signed him?
To be honest. I remember I looked on the forum and I remember a fan saying, that doesn't sound like Rodney, because they made like a big meal about him signing. And then the first season he hardly played. We just signed Jack Earing from Bolton, and everyone were like, "Oh, where's Devante Rodney?" So it was a bit like that. And then now I think I'd rather have Jack Earing than Devante Rodney.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finally, what 2 sides do you reckon are going to go up this season?
Gosh, I think we'd go up. That'd be good to the playoffs. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It'd be brilliant. I think
we get into the playoffs, we've got as good a chance as anybody.
Yeah.
But if you were to exclude us from it, I think Stockport are incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
They've got a big following. They've got a big backing on there. So they're possible. But also, if you look at clubs like Bromley, they've always done quite well, haven't they?
Yeah, they're underdogs this year. I think no one ever expects Bromley to do well, but they always are pushing up high up the table. They just don't finish seasons well usually. Yeah,
but I think Grimsby are also going to be a big club. They've got massive following. They've got parachute payments.
Yeah,
they've had a few good signings. They've got a new boardroom, I believe, and a new manager. So I think they'll take some stopping with Grimsby.
Can't wait for some away games next season with South and Grimsby going down. Yeah. We were planning it out, me and my dad and my uncle, the other day, and we're looking at Barnet away will be a good away game. Southend, Grimsby, all these away days look brilliant, and I can't wait to be going to them. Wrexham away now. I can't wait for the chance there when Paul Mullin doesn't score against us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's more or less wraps it up. That's it for Talking Shaymen. There will be one out in the upcoming weeks. Hopefully, and I said this last time, with ShaymenTalks as well. If any of you guys want to get involved with the channel, just leave me a DM on Twitter or Instagram. If it's on Instagram, it's the Supporters Club. If it's on Twitter, it is Talking Shaymen. That's more or less it. Rob, as always, thank you for coming on. ShaymenTalks, I'll see you next time if you can make it. And that's more or less it.